So basically, we were wrapping up the Havamina of what were the issues on Chesed Aleph for wrapping up the issues that existed in the Havamina between Rav's statement and Rav Yehuda's statement. We thought that there were two differences. We ultimately showed that there were no differences. The two of them ultimately agreed. But the second point of contention was that they argued in Rav Yosef. And what about Rav Yosef? And it's a big discussion why we had to even bring Rav Yosef, because the truth of the matter is, if you left Rav Yosef out, we already knew what the machlokus was. The machlokus is a breach on the far end of the Rechava to Rishus Harabim. Is that a breach that's going to mess up the Mavli? Because even though the Mavli ends into a Chotzer, and even though they might have made an Eruv, but Lamaisa it opens up to, on the other side, opens up to Rishus Harabim. Says does that breach bother me or not? So you really could have had this distinction of what the underpinning of the Machlokas is without this new wrinkle that Rav Yosef brings in. Why the Gemara brings in Rav Yosef, Tosfos deals with at great length. But for our purposes, we'll just continue. So what was this wrinkle that Rav Yosef mentioned? He says if the Mavli ends into the Rechava or into the Chotzer, does not make a difference either one. But his statement is about a Rechava. If it ends in the middle of it, meaning you have walls all around you, then you're good. If it ends in the Avokola L'tzidei Rechava, but if it ends at the side of a Rechava, which is number 73, Avokola L'tzidei Rechava, where the Rechava is not flush up against the Mavi on both sides, as let's say even in 74, although that 74 is focusing on a different issue, but the Mavi ends into the Rechava, right? So it clearly is. The Mavi on both sides of it has has movement as it goes into the Rechava. In 73, the Mavi on one side is flush all the way up, flush straight up against Rishus Harabim. So we're up to that Rashi right now. Avokol L'tzidei Rechava shekaisel Aruch Hamavi Shava leEchad Mikaisei Aruch HaRechava. Right, that the Mavli wall is also a continuation of the wall of one of the Rechava, which is exactly what you're looking at, where you cannot see any distinction. There's absolutely nothing to distinguish between the wall of the Mavli versus the wall of the Rechava on the left side of that of the Mavli. As we're looking at it, on the left side of it, it's flush all the way through to Rishus Harabim. The nearer Kamavi Aruch, it looks like one long Mavi. Moshech ad Rishus Harabim shikanegdo, and it extends to Rishus Harabim opposite it. Nefs like a mafulish v'aser. It looks like mafulish and it's aser. So this halacha really is not really relevant for us. The fact that when it ends in the Tzidei Rechava, but what is relevant is the other point. He says that if the Mavli ends in the middle of the Rechava, then you could carry. And Rav would argue in the Havamina of the Gemara that he would argue at that point, and he would say ending in the middle of the Rechava does not help you because at the other end of that Rechava you're looking at Olympic Boulevard, and that is a problem because there's a breach to the other side into Rishus Harabim. So that really takes care of that question. The question again was yesterday, what was the Havamina's thinking of the double machlokis? And now we just explained the two positions, the two issues that were at play. One was the Eruv issue with the wall that you can't see from one side, but you can see from the other side. And the other issue is, does it bother me that there's a breach into Rishus Harabim on the other side of that enclosure? Does it bother me or not? Okay. So at this point, if we were to be asked, this breach on the other side of the enclosure, the Rechava or the Chutz, where is that breach? We would have said, and properly so, because that's what we've been taught by the Gemara till now, that breach was exactly parallel to the breach of the Mavi. The Mavi was flush up against the opening, and we're not looking at any of those scenarios right there, because that was the old Gemara. But now we're going to qualify that and move into it's number 74, which really shows us that when you're walking down the Mava, you can't see Olympic Boulevard, right? Till now, you can see it perfectly. In fact, you wouldn't be able to see any distinction. If you're at the far end of the Mava and you look straight down, Mamish, it would look like this Mava leads right into Olympic. Now we're going to learn that that's not the case. If it led right into Olympic, in fact, everyone would say that you couldn't carry in that Mava because that breach would be a problem. Okay, so we're sort of turning things up on its head a little bit, not completely, but just we're majorly qualifying it right now. So Amar Rabba. So now we're embarking on another step, a new wrinkle. Amar Rabba. That which we said that you're allowed to carry into the middle of the Rechava because of the fact that the opening on the other side of the Rechava doesn't bother me because it's open, even though it's open to Rishus Rabim, because after all, this Rechava is an enclosed area and serves as a separation and serves as a closure to the Mavui. What? I did? No. No. Kamifli b'Rav Yosef. Dam Rav Yosef lo shanu el shekol emser rechava. Avol kol tir rechava aser. No, that's exactly where we left off. But if it ends to the side of the rechava, it's aser to carry, and that permission of Rav Yosef is what Rav would have been arguing about in the Havmin of the Gemara. Based on the initial assumption. That's where we got up to. You don't agree? I remember reading it.
No, go on.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I remember this. No, this is where we're up to. Okay. It is possible I'm losing it, but till proven otherwise, I'll assume I'm.
I had him over there. Now he's on 882.
Fine. So let's. So now a new halacha, or a new wrinkle, I should say. Amar Rabba. We're no longer dealing with the havmin, we're dealing with the reality on the ground. Okay, and the reality on the ground is that we're saying that Yutaka could carry into in the Mavli because of despite the fact that it's breached on the other side. It's perfectly okay. That was the story of the shepherd, the city of shepherds. So that which we said you can, if it breaks into the middle of the Rechava, it's mutter. It's only true if it's one not opposite the other. But if the opening of the Rishus Rab is mamish flush up, perfectly parallel to the wall, to the opening of the mavui, as we've been assuming till now, osir. Okay, then you cannot carry, right? So 74 is a perfect diagram of a mavui, which you cannot see the opening when you're standing in the mavui. When you're standing in the mavui, you're mamish looking at a wall. But if you walk into the rechava, then you see that it's opened up. You got to make a left turn, and then you'll see the wall, the opening, and you'll go out to Olympic Boulevard through that opening right there. That's when it's mutter, because that's called enclosed. But when it's not, avol zeh shlogan zeh aser. Rashi, avol first wide line on Chesed and Aleph, avol zeh keneged zeh pirtzas chotzer keneged amavli aser. If the pirtza of the chotzer, if the breach of the chotzer is flush up against the mavli, mamish, straight across, it's going to be aser. Aser v'hai keneged dekama Rav. That which Rav said when it's opposite the mavli, which in the context of the chutz that he was talking about, will kim the time of the isa mavli b'shel iv. Remember, and we said that the only reason why Rav didn't allow it is only because there was no erev between the chutzer and the mavli. Ha'irvu mutter. Okay, but then we inferred that had there been an erev, we said it would have been mutter because Rav also is not bothered by the breach on the other side into Olympic. Hi kenegda lav dafka. That word kenegda is really not exact. It's a lav dafka word, meaning it's not mamish up straight across. The kenegdai, any wall that's on the other side, is called kenegdai. It doesn't have to mean mamish perfectly parallel across. But if you are up on the side of the Rechava back in 73, in that situation, if you're ending on the side of the Rechava, even if there would be a breach not where you can see it, right? 73 is where you can see straight up. The breach is perfectly parallel to the Mavi. Let's say the breach was a little bit away from the Mavi. Would that be okay? No. Even there, that's where Rav Yosef was making that distinction. Oh, what? 75? Yeah. Right, perfect, right. Okay, so the Mavi, the Rechava, and then there's a breach, right, and that's also Tzidei, right? That's the case of Tzidei Rechava. That would not work. Very good. Because the length, the wall of the Rechava extends the Mavi. It's flush, smooth, up all the way through. And it's like a very long Mavi up until the wall. And that would still prevent you from carrying in the Mavi, because we would view it as a one long wall, one long Mavi, all the way up to the back wall of that Rechava. The okay, and it would prevent you from carrying in the Mavi, deve a Mavi Akum. Okay, we view it as a Mavi Akum, Sheish Yoser Me'eser Bak Bimusa. There's more than 10 in its in it where it curves, right? It looks like a curved Mavi, which is exactly, if you combine the Rechava with the Mavi, it's like a curved L-shaped Mavi, which we've been there and done that. Okay, and the Kulyam Aser, where we said before you cannot carry in that Mavi if in that turn, where in the turn of the L, that there's more than 10. Even though the opening is not up against it. Here too, when the Mavi moves into the Rechava area, okay, the entire Rechava represents a big bend. Rechava harbe, and it's wide. And it's similar. It has the same halachic ramification or result as a bent Mavi, which needs to be rectified in with that little. I assume that little aleph there that you have there is basically, some kind of a Tzuras HaPesach you got to build to fix things up and to make it good. So since, what? Okay, that's what the aleph says? Yeah. Right, okay, exactly. So there you have to, so basically you'd have to do something to narrow it if it's more than 10, right, even, well, maybe... But it's right, Tzuras would close it. That might work. Okay. So bottom line is, we now have a new, very, very strong qualification to that allowance that we said you can carry in the Mavi. Rabbah is coming along and saying you can only carry, or he's further qualifying Rav Yosef's qualification. Right? Rav Yosef's qualification is that you can't see the breach; it can't be flush up against you. Now the other, now we're having an additional qualification. I'm sorry. Right. I'm sorry. Rabba's qualification is just it wouldn't work when it's on the side. If it ends in the Tzidei Rechava, it does not work. Okay, and now we're adding another qualification that not only does it work if it ends in the middle of the Rechava, which till now it did work, but only works if the breach is off to the side, where you can't see it flush up against your walking, your Mavi. It's got to be off to the side, where when you're looking straight up, straight ahead, you're gonna see the wall. Okay. Now we have another qualification. So we're really limiting this breach on the other side of, on the Olympic side there. It's really getting very narrow and very limited. Let's keep going. All right, we're caught up with the Rashis. So one more time, and now we have another one. Rav Misharsha in the Gemara. Rav Misharsha now adds another qualification. That which we said, that when the breach is off to the side, it's mutter to carry. Right, if it ends in the middle of the Rechava, but the wall, the breach is off to the side, and that it's mutter, that's only true if that Rechava belonged to many people. that back lot belonged to multitudes. Ella Ruchava de Rabbim, where the Ruchava belonged to more than one guy. Av Ruchava de Yachid, but if that Ruchava, that back lot only belonged to one guy, no, it will not work. Why? Zimin the Mimlach Allah, because maybe that one guy might change his mind and turn a Ruchava into a nice chutzner type of situation, as you see beautifully on that number 76. Okay, and he might decide to build homes into the Rechava, and because that whole Rechava, the non-line part, right, is all the Rechava. And that guy, if it's owned by one guy, he might decide to develop his Rechava, build homes, and those homes will end up flush up against the wall again. What we'll have is exactly a new case. Instead of being a case of Be'emsa Rechava, ending Be'emsa Rechava, it's now going to end B'tzidei Rechava, and it's going to turn. We're going to mamish turn Rav Yosef's case from one to the other.
Doesn't that change it either to a courtyard or something? In other words, it's no longer a Rechava once you have homes there and they all exit into that area. I mean, that was the whole. Before it was a
yeah, but you know what? I hear you, but that doesn't seem to be the main concern. The main concern seems to be that those homes will be built flush up against. To the point where it becomes one long wall, and if it becomes one long wall, then you cannot carry the mavui because it ends up, looking really, like a mavui akum.
But it's really part of the mavui now. In other words, the mavui.
Okay, but it's a bet mavui, and if it's a bet mavui, it needs to be fixed in a proper way. A bet mavui that opened had such a wide opening, we just said, is a problem. Okay, let's finish the Gemara and do the Rashi. Okay, that will then become a mavi which ends no longer be'emsa rechava, which Rav Yosef's halacha was. That's what needed to be. It would be ending with sidei rechava, which Rashi explained to us would be viewed as a mavi akum and problematic, because it's too big of a break in the middle, and it needs to be narrowed and rectified. Okay, let's, any Rashis? Looks like it's not, no Rashis. Okay, fine, let's proceed. The Uminot Taimra, the Shanalan ben Ruchava the Ram, Ruchava the Yachid, and now we're continuing first wide line of the Gemara, and how do I know? In other words, this Chiddush of Rav Misharshia is that there's a difference between a singularly owned Rechava versus a multitude-owned Rechava. Well, how do I know that such a thing, that such a distinction exists? I've just made it up. Did I just come up with it on my own? No, it's based on something. I'll tell you how I know. Okay, so here's a story about a certain Mavli. Mavis are very fascinating. They can be very multifaceted and dimensioned. And this particular mavui, one of the sides of the mavui ended at the sea. Okay, so right, you see the sea. Echad kol yam v'tzida echad kola. Okay, Ayin Ridva. So the Ridva learns this way. I don't think everybody learns this way, but okay. I don't think it really matters at the end of the day, right? But basically, you see the narrow mavli. Okay, that's the alleyway in 77, and you have one end of the alleyway ending by the sea, and the other end of the alleyway ending by the ashpa, by a garbage dump. So, which both served as walls to the mavli. Okay. I think the article diagram is where these are on the side, okay, as opposed to, so that's, in other words, 78, right, Rashi, okay, good. Yeah, okay, so Rashi, let's ignore 77 right now because we have enough challenges figuring out Rashi. So basically it's the same idea, but the two walls are, one is a yam, and one is an ashpa. One's a sea, and one's a garbage dump. So what's the problem? You got two walls. What's your problem? You got a perfect mavli. You're open to Rishus Harabim. Let's focus on 78, right? The mavli ends into Rishus Harabim, and the world is good, except one problem. What's the problem? He says, this episode or this situation came in front of Rebbe in terms of paskening, is this considered a valid mavui? Okay, because you had your lechi there, right? There's your lechi, right there. Can't miss it. There's a lechi, nice tall pole, okay, for everyone to see. So it's a perfect situation. Everything is good, right? Well, not necessarily. And Rebbe refused to give not a heter and not an iser. He didn't say it was asur because you got a perfectly structured mavui with everything properly right now. Everything was done kedasa kedin. So why didn't you give it a heter? Why wasn't there an RCC stamp on this mavui? He says. So one second. Yes, but he didn't want to give a heta to it either. Maybe one day the ashpa will be gone because the owner of the garbage dump might decide to say, I want to develop this area and no longer have it as a garbage place. He says, Sirton. Or maybe the sea will no longer be a valid wall because if you start getting this residue stuff that might create a slant and it might fill up the you see right now there's a beautiful wall there because the sea is straight down. But let's say somehow things change and now certainly with the hurricanes we know that, and what was a nice steep wall that served as a mechitza, that might change. And now what they call it, but the residue stuff that might decide to move around might change the whole structure of the situation and make it and take away your wall, and your wall is now gone. So you see that there is this distinction between an ashpa of a yachid versus an ashpa of a rabbim, and that there's a concern an ashpa of a yachid will be. Yeah,
but that's not realistic because you also say they might tear down those houses, on the walls, from the houses.
I guess the concern is you do things positively to change, for the better your situation. But again, the only concern is when it's owned by one person. When one person owns it, then it doesn't require all the, a bunch of Jews to agree on anything. So just all you need is one Jew to agree what he wants to do. That might happen. When you need a bunch of Jews to agree to something, that's a much more far-fetched, unfortunately. Okay.
But still, if you have the garbage heap there and the ocean today is the way it is, then for this coming Shabbos or Yom Tov or whatever you could.
Yeah, but these people concerned not about tomorrow, but about 5 years from now. If I give a hechsher now, and everyone says Rebbe came by here and said this is good, and all of a sudden there's a hurricane 6 months later, and the sirton blocks up the whole wall, and they say, but the Rebbe said it was good. People are not going to realize.
Yeah, so because something might happen 5 years from now.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, listen, you and I are not Rebbe, so, we look at things differently. But when you're Rebbe, you look at the world from Rebbe's point of view, and he would not give a heter. Okay, let's take a look at Rashi. Obanale batim b'rechava. We're afraid you're going to build homes in the rechava. B'reichev odef alamavi. Okay, in the width of where the mavi was indented, and he will smoothen out the walls of your houses, mamish against the walls of the mavi. So it'll be like we had before, flush up against it. Okay, so how do I know there's such a distinction? Because we have this story where one side of the mavui was a sea, and the other end was closed like any other mavi, so it was a U-shaped mavi, conventional. And you had the end of the mavi, okay, as you have it right there on 78, that you fix up the mavi with a lechin kura, so everything is wonderful. So what's the problem? Well, the problem is he's afraid. V'yala. One second. Ashba Gavoya Asara, V'yesvasai Goiva Asara. Right, so it was 10 high, and it was V'yesvasai Gavoya Asara. At the edge, it was 10 high. I'm not sure he has to say it twice. Ashba Gavoya Asara. V'yam Svasai Goiva Asara. Right, so both the sea and the garbage dump were 10 tefachim high, forming a valid wall. So what was the current concern? He says maybe the guy is going to change his mind about the garbage dump, and he might decide to develop it into a nice, cozy little area, and flatten it out. V'yala hayam sirton shalchol v'avana. Maybe stones and sand are going to start showing up there. Eitzel's fosay near the edge, because that's the way rivers go. Umiskatzer rochav yam. Okay, and the width of the yam will become narrower. V'nasa karka krochav parsayoser, and the land will start extending out a distance further, and you won't have that steep incline that you need to form a wall. It'll be much more. You're right, exactly there. The sirtone. Okay, so there you have it. I don't know is there an English word for sirtone? But sediment. Okay. Fine, whatever you want to call it, but you see the rocks there, and there goes your wall, because everything is piling up over there, and what was a beautiful, clear 10 tefach situation is no longer that, and your wall is missing. Okay, weiter, fine. Back to the Gemara. Michai Shinon Shema Tinotel Ashpa. Are you really concerned that? Okay, so actually, yeah. So if this is, even though normally the words Michai Shinon are like attack mode words. Really, are you really afraid that the ashpa is going to be removed? Okay, but if you look at Rashi on these words, Umichai Shinon Hashasun Farsh Milse Deminot Temer Yozel. This is all the Shas proving its position that there's a distinction between a ashpa v'yachid versus an ashpa v'rabim. That things belonging to one person versus things belonging to many, that there's a distinction. So this is really how the Gemara is ultimately unveiling its argument, and that therefore there is a distinction there. So umicha shinon, so you'll see how I'm about to prove my point. So here, when you look at the Rebbe story, Rebbe was concerned the ashpa is going to be removed. And you're going to lose it. Really? But is that really true? But we have a Mishnah that tells us you have a garbage dump in Rishus Rabim, that's 10 tfachim high. Okay, so by being 10 tfachim high, anything above, what's the halacha of anything in the airspace above 10 tfachim Rishus Rabim? So right there, it's a makom patur. Now, if that 10 tfachim high item is also 4 by 4 tfachim wide, that's Rishus Yachid. Remember we had that bima, that amud in Rishus Rabim. So either way, when you're above 10 tfachim in Rishus Rabim, you're pretty much in safe territory, for the most part. And here you have Otzanan, we have a Mishnah tells us Ashpa Rishus Rabim, you have a garbage dump in Rishus Rabim, Gvoyut tfachim, 10 tfachim high, Chaloin shal gaba, you have a window that's like right in front of the garbage dump, as you see right there in number 80. Okay, beautiful. So you see there's a garbage dump. Pretty nice garbage dump. So keep it orderly. Anyway, and if you took something and you threw it out from your window and landed on top of the garbage dump, you do anything wrong? Even though the garbage dump is on Olympic Boulevard, but it's no longer on Olympic. You didn't throw it onto Olympic, you threw it onto the garbage dump. So, okay, you are allowed to throw from the window onto the garbage dump on Shabbos. What happened? Aren't we afraid? How could you say that? If we allow you to start throwing things out the window into the garbage, and what's going to happen if the garbage dump decides to be changed? Okay, and then there'll be no garbage dump, and you'll be throwing it onto Wilshire Boulevard. It'll be a chiyuv deraisa. So why are we allowing you to do that? Alma, we see from here, Shani ben Ashpa the Ram li Ashpa the Yochid. So you see that there's a distinction. Hachanami, the same distinction can be made over here. Shani ben Rechava the Ram Rechava the Yochid. Just like there's a difference between garbage dumps of a multitude versus an individual garbage dump. The same thing is true for the Rechava with the homes that we were concerned about. Okay, let's see the Rashi. Zorkin lo b'Shabbos, yeah. So smack there in the middle of the wide lines there. Zorkin lo b'Shabbos. V'oi chashiron shema tismayet ashpa mi'asar. We're not afraid that the garbage is going to be less than 10. V'rimsa Zorkin l'shus harabim, and that if that would be the case, you'd end up throwing it into a shus harabim. We're not afraid. Okay, must be l'ashpa d'yachid. V'hi ashpa de Rebbe, ashpa d'yachid ave. In Rebbe's case, where he was afraid that somebody might flatten the ashpa, okay, that's only in the case where it belonged to one guy, because you don't need 10. You don't need to consult with a whole committee to make it happen. You can just, you don't have to call the homeowners association. Just do it. On the other hand, when it belongs to a yachid, then we're concerned. And same thing with the rechava. Okay, back to the Gemara. Rabbanan Mai. What did the Rabbanan say? Okay, in that situation, look at Rashi. Rabbanan Shoy B'Dori Shel Rebbe. Okay, the rabbis that lived in the generation of Rebbe, Mayavi Amri Lebahi Movi. What did they say? Interesting kind of question. Normally don't have these kind of things. What did the other rabbis say about that story? Normally we just read the story and we go weiter. Here, the Gemara feels that maybe the Gemara knows that there were other opinions that were stated. So what did the other rabbis hold in that situation when Rebbe walked by that Movi and said nothing? He wouldn't give a heter, he wouldn't give an iser. Rabbanan Mai. So Rav Yosef, in the Gemara, Rav Yosef bar Avdimi, Tana v'Chacham Osir. We have a brayso that says the Chachamim said thumbs down, that they flat out were concerned. So Rebbe was non-committal, but the Rabbanan were committal. They said flat out it's Osir. Okay, and Omer of Nachman Alach Divrei Chachamim. And we follow the Chachamim on the Chumrah Dika side of things to flat out say, making Michael very unhappy that we're concerned about futuristic situation. But apparently that's what the Chachamim held. Rav Nachman follows them. Or Iked another version, Amar Rav Yosef bar Avdimi Tana of the Chacham Matirin. Another version said the Chacham say it's mutter, and Amar Rav Nachman Ein halacha kedivrei Chachamim. Okay, the halacha is not like the Chachamim. So let's get to the bottom line here. Marema pasuk le'lusura bu'uzli. One second. Chachama. Right. So again, the other version was that the Chacham said it was mutter, and Rav Nachman also being machmer. Even in this version, even though it's a different statement of the Chacham, he was saying we do not follow the rabbis. Marema pasuk l'sura ba'ozlei amar chashin shema yala hayam serton. So Marema paskind for surah where some kind of case by the sea, and he also agreed with this concern, and he said, I'm afraid that the sediments are going to start piling up and destroy the wall, and he did not allow the carrying there. Okay, let's do the Rashis. Right, once Ashpa Yochid, I think we did that. Right, Vavahi Ashpa Rebbe Ashpa Yochid Avoi. Right, so right, for Rabbanan we did that one as well. The Rabbanan in that door, what do they hold? So pasuk l'sur b'uzli hayam haya samach l'sura. There was some kind of a, I guess, I don't know, some kind of a movie by the Yam, Machreha, V'roshe Muvos Mufaloshin Liyam. Oh, okay, I'm sorry, right. So, Pali Surah Ba'uzli Hayam, I guess, at the end of the movie, you have a picture there? Yeah. So, right, so, thank you. So, you had these alleyways, and the alleyways were ended at the sea, but he decided to make some kind of nettings, as you can see in the diagram, to create a fence just in case the yam would end up going bad and there would be sirton and ruining the whole situation there. So let's do the Rashi one more time. Pasuk l'sura ba'uzli hayam hayasamach l'sura. The sea was very close to those alleyways in Surah, mi'achareha, from the back of it, Rasha Muvos Mufloshin Liam, and the ends of the Muvos opened up to the sea. He made nettings and some fence type nettings of fence for all of these mavus. Even though the yam, at the time that he that they wanted to carry. The yam was legitimately solid as far as a 4. It was 10 tefachim high, and it would have been a legitimate wall. But Namaisi, he didn't want to rely on it because he didn't know what the future held. So by making the nettings, he said this way it'll be very good. Omar, because he figured Shema Yala Hayom Sirton Mutatali Nami Muvos Kan Mikara, and they're going to carry like they always carried. And things change, but they didn't change. Bad habits, right? If, God forbid, there was no air functioning in the valley, how many people would still carry on Shabbos? I hate to say many, because you get into habits. So since he wanted to avoid those potential bad habits, he made sure that let's make the netting, solid. Let's make a solid wall, a solid fence, and the nettings are a legitimate fence, and therefore everything is good. Okay, we'll pick this up tomorrow. Shkoyach.